So let's talk about Caitlin Clark's playoff debut. Now, before I get into this, I'm not here to make excuses for the Fever because I've been telling y'all that the Fever have roster problems right now. There are things on this roster which needs to be addressed this offseason. I told you they need a backup point guard. They don't play Grace Berger enough. They don't have enough wing defenders. When you don't have athletic wings, the perimeter guards can get to the basket without much resistance from that point of attack defenders. And we have Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell who are really good on offense. They're not able to guard in space consistently. Of course, you're going to go out there and get cooked. And when you have somebody like Lexi Hall, who's really good at that, and you have Aaliyah Boston, who can't, she's more of an interior defender, that's fine. You need more flexibility on your defense. And you have Thag Bentley, who I think is athletic, but she's a vet and I think she can rebound and block shots. That's awesome, but her offense has limitations. You look at someone like Dantas, Katie Lou Samuelson, Melissa Smith. What do they all have in common? They move slow. They can, Katie Lou Samuelson can shoot the ball. Dantas can get hot. Melissa Smith, she good one day, the next day she's nowhere to be found. But they all move slow. So when you get them in pick and roll actions, you get them in space, you're scoring all day long. That's why the defense at times looks really bad for the Fever because if you got athletic wings or you're an athletic team, you're going to dominate those matchups. Now let's talk about the Dejanay Carrington situation with Caitlin Clark. That looked intentional in my opinion because Caitlin Clark passed the ball. It was already out of her hands. And Dejanay Carrington's arm is coming down and she comes down and lands on Caitlin Clark's eye. And after that, her eye was swollen and definitely ruined the flow of the game for Caitlin Clark. But at the same time, this is playoff basketball. I don't excuse the action. However, physicality is part of the playoffs, and the intensity only ramps up, especially in a 3-game series. Like every game, especially the first one, it's just like life and death for those women out there. If they lose game 1, it's like, well, if we don't win game 2, we're done. That's a lot of pressure. Another thing that people don't recognize is the Fever are inexperienced in the playoffs. Yes, I know Caitlin Clark played for Iowa, but this is the WNBA. It's a new level. When you're a rookie coming into the league, you don't come out in the playoffs and just run through everybody. That's not how it works. Just go check basketball history. We see players come into the playoffs who are really good as rookies, but then they struggle. It happens. Do I think Caitlin Clark will bounce back? I do. I think she'll have a much better game too. Do I think they're going to win? No, I think this series is over. The reason why I think the Sun are going to win on Wednesday is number one, you look at Bonner guarding Caitlin Clark. She made things hard out there for Clark. She had trouble getting her shots off. She started the game 0-4. Now, again, I understand Dejanay Carrington, what she did was intentional, in my opinion. They should have called a foul. It was egregious to me. And for you to not do anything out there as a referee, that was terrible on their part. And I hope the commissioner gets involved. And going forward, just say, you know what? We got Caitlin Clark. We got to make sure we protect our superstar because she is the future of this league. We cannot dismiss that. Look at the views. The numbers speak for themselves. But looking at this from a basketball perspective, taking off our bias lenses, Bonner is still out there bothering Caitlin Clark. There's no doubt about it. And when you're an athletic wing with that much height and the ability to keep up with Caitlin Clark off her screens, move with Clark, it's going to be a long day for Caitlin. And that's not a shot at Caitlin Clark. She will get better. She's a rookie. To expect her in this Fever team to be the WNBA Finals is ridiculous. These expectations I've been seeing about, Clark should have been MVP and they're going to make the finals. Blow it down. She is a rookie. She will get better as a basketball player. There are levels, just like in life, you got to climb them and you have to get better. Caitlin Clark is a top 10 player in the WNBA. The reason why I think she's top 10 is you look at the record she's broken. Also, it's a smaller league, so it's easy to move up faster. Now, if this was the NBA, you got 30 teams, more players involved. Am I putting that person top 10 after one season? No. Especially if people with championships, MVPs, other awards. Those things matter to me. So again, Caitlin Clark is just getting started. If they lose on Wednesday, hold your L's. I don't want to hear the excuses. I don't want to hear you crying. No, we're not doing that. If they lose, they lost. They'll get better, though. You look at the roster for the Fever. Erica Wheeler, relying on her to give you bench production. They didn't give any minutes to Grace Berger to back up Caitlin Clark, even for 5 minutes in the game. You look at Katie Lou Samuelson. She can't move, and she's nothing unless she's shooting a three-pointer and them going in. and she's not even shooting well this season. And then you look at Dantes. Yes, she can score and shoot, but outside of that, she doesn't play defense. She can't move out there. Nolissa Smith, inconsistent. You see, there are flaws on this roster. That's okay. They will get better. Lynn Dunn has a lot of pressure this offseason to improve this roster. And if she doesn't, she's gone. Chrissy Sides, I think she'll be back. I know people haven't liked her. I don't like the way she coaches, but I'm going to give her some grace because people do fail. We saw Joe Mazzulla just go through this where the Celtics in 2022-23, they were so inconsistent. It was like, why do they have Joe Mazzulla as a coach? The next year they win a championship. So let's slow down. It's going to take time for the Fever to build chemistry. That's how basketball works. You don't win championships overnight. So let's say next year the Fever get back in the playoffs. They lose in the second round or they lose in the first round again. You got to let this team develop. Build around Caitlin Clark. Build around Aaliyah Boston. Build around Lexi Hall. Maybe keep Kelsey Mitchell because she's in her prime years. Yes, I think you need to keep her. And maybe you trade her down the road if she's, not one to go through the process of building a contending team. But again, you have some cornerstone pieces on this roster right now. Give Grace Berger some more minutes next season. See if that works out. See if you can add another wing this offseason. And then go from there. Get off Katie Lou Samuelson's contract. That's a terrible contract they have right now. But they might have to wait a few more years before they have more money to spend. Again, we got to just slow down the expectations. Caitlin Clark has done a phenomenal job this season. Don't get it twisted. The sales, the jerseys, the audience, the viewerships, we know it. And she's only going to get better as a basketball player. And I'm excited for that. So we have to look at the process when it comes to getting better as a player and going through the journey of the playoff losses. That does happen. You don't become a champion overnight. So I think whatever happens in game 2, the Fever have had an unbelievable season. If I'm wrong and they win game 2 and game 3, I will be happily wrong. I just don't see it. I'm just being objective here. That's all I'm doing. And I think we got to get to a point where it's like, we can't let our fandom take over reality. And that's okay. I'm not mad about how the Fever, look because, again, like they have some flaws to work on. And I think as they gel around Aaliyah and Caitlin and Kelsey Mitchell and Lexi Hall, they will get better. They're a piece or two away from being a serious contender, in my opinion. Do I think they're going to win the championship? I don't know. It might take 2 or 3 seasons from now. Because, again, you look at the NBA, took LeBron James, 9 years to get a championship? I think it was 8 or 9. I forget. Took him a while. Took Kevin Durant a while. Steph Curry took him some time. So you got to go through the journey. And Caitlin Clark, what she's doing for the WNBA, as long as she's in the league and drawing views and keeping us interested, that is a W because I want the WNBA to finally make some money. If that happens, guess what? The summers are great because we get to talk about WNBA basketball and other new talent coming in. So again, relax. Whatever happens Wednesday, it's going to be okay. Because Caitlin Clark will still be around and she'll have an entire offseason to work on her game. And imagine when she has a mid-range game, oh my gosh, this is going to be some scary stuff. And she gets a little stronger, able to adjust even more to the physicality of the WNBA. Because it really reminds me of 90s basketball when I look at how physical these players are and how they guard. I mean, I have to get used to it again because you watched in the 90s. Now you're like, oh, why are the games at 70-60? It's so low of a score, but that's just the styles they play with. But Caitlin Clark pushes the ball, brings excitement on offense. So give it time. Again, there's no shame in how this series turns out for Caitlin Clark. She's been phenomenal. I'm still going to love Caitlin Clark, support her forever. And I'm excited for the process. And again, keep elevating the WNBA because that's how I want to see out here. Hope you guys enjoyed this video today. Just love to hear your thoughts on Caitlin Clark's playoff debut and what do you think is going to happen going forward. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you in the next one.